Okay, welcome everybody to our Friday 11 o'clock class. I am your host for the day as usual, and today's class is Some Enchanted Evening. Some Enchanted Evening. Let's talk a little bit about the Zoom stuff that we got. You've all got microphones and cameras that you can show and mute yourself. I am going to leave the microphones up to you. But I would prefer that while I am speaking and while I am playing in particular, that you mute yourselves. If you mute yourselves, then there's no extra microphones picking up sounds going back and forth. Otherwise, it gets very distracting. Okay? Otherwise, you guys have been so polite and so fabulous to ask questions and not speak over anybody else. So I'm going to keep it that way because you're good. You're good at it. All right. What do we know about Some Enchanted Evening? This is from South Pacific. This is a 1949 Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, and it has been described as the biggest popular hit to come out of any Rodgers and Hammerstein show, Some Enchanted Evening. In the original Broadway show, the song was sung by Metropolitan Opera guy, Ezio Pinza. He's a bass singer, Ezio Pinza. And he won the Tony Award for Best Actor in 1950 for the role of Émile Debec, the French guy in the movie and in the Broadway. In the film version, the song is sung by a different Metropolitan Opera bass, Giorgio Tozzi, who dubbed in the singing for Rossano Brazzi. Rossano Brazzi was the actor, and he was actually dubbed by another Met singer. So imagine that. So now that's your trivia for the day. I love this movie. I was a kid when I saw this, and this was one of those that I watched over and over and over and over, and just learned all the music and drove my family crazy. So who else did this? Perry Como had a #1 hit in 1949. Mr. Pinza had a #7 hit in 1949. I guess he wasn't as popular as Perry Como. Frank Sinatra, same year, #6. Bing Crosby, same year. This is what kills me. All these guys decide they find a song they like and everybody does it. 1949, his was #3. Joe Stafford, she didn't sing it till a year later, but she hit #4 with this. Andy Williams in 1958. Willie Nelson did this in 1988. The Temptations did this in 1995. I mean, we're getting a little bit kind of off track beat here, but that's okay because that gives you an idea of how creative you can get with your rhythms and your backgrounds. Bob Dylan did this in 2015. Oh, yes. And Jay and the Americans did it in 1965. So it's one of those great songs that you can put on any 4/4 rhythm, and it's going to work. It's absolutely going to work. Check your song setup. You're going to find that most of you have it in there because it's such a popular song. And it comes up to the fabulous Hawaiian Paradise. By the way, the organ that I am playing on today, it seems like it's a different one every week, is the wonderful, fabulous Imperial. Imperial. Okay.
Doug, she's playing on the Imperial again.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to play, so mute yourselves, and we're going to do the song setup version for Some Enchanted Evening.
Great song.
Great song. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And for those people who do not care for the extra chords, you do not need to add them. There were about 4 different versions that I found with different chords. So I did spend some time trying to find the ones that I thought would be the easiest, the best, and would just make the biggest difference. Joe Notoriani came in yesterday, and he played his version of it, which gave me a couple of ideas that I'm going to pass along to you for arranging. He did some echoes that were very, very nice, and I think you guys can handle that. So here we go with chords.
I don't know, check.
So get your pencils out.
What he did was he shaved this and he gave you this.
If you can mute yourself, please do so. Okay, the first line, no changes. The second line, no changes. Wow. The third line, first measure. Over that blacked in quarter note, beat 1, put in a C augmented. Chicken augmented, C-A-U-G, and it is a 3-fingered chord. C, E, G sharp, chicken, elephant, and sharp gorillas.
And I'm sorry, what note was that over?
That's beat 1 of line 3, over that blacked in quarter note. Beat 1 of the first measure of
I'm
line
on a
3.
different book. I think it's different.
Uh-oh, okay. You may see a stranger, next measure. And then it starts across crowded.
Oh, okay, that's second line. Got it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
All
Different
right.
book.
Over the word crowded, make that F an F major 7. F major 7 is E and F. Remember, major 7s are nice jazz chords because they are 2 fingers. It's the letter minus 1. So instead of just having an F chord, you've got the E in the F. Wow, what a nice sound. What a nice sound that is. The C chord over somehow you. The C chord can be a C6. Now remember, C6 must be played with C in the root, and that's the only position it can be in, and it has to be a 4-fingered chord. C, E, G, A. Those are your 4 notes, and that's also a nice jazz chord. Next line, over the word no, cross out the G and replace it with D minor 7, dog minor or dog minor 7, C, D, and F. If you wish, you may add in this next chord in the next measure, beat 1, over the blacked in quarter note. We're still holding on to the word no. You may stay with D minor, or you may add a B minor 7 flat the 5th. And that's just a really nice, spicy chord. And your notes are B, D, F, A. If you notice, D minor is in the middle of that. And you can play that in any order, by the way. So instead of a D minor, which is D and F, that's just a nice, spicy chord. And then we're going to move the E chord over 1 note. So instead of playing the E or E7 over the D, we're going to play it over the E for that E-G-E triplet. So move it over to beat 3, over the E for no. The next measure, A minor C7, just as written. The next measure, make the F and F major 7. F capital M-A-J 7. Your 2 notes are E and F. That's good for 2 counts. Over the B, the beginning of the quarter note triplet, put an F chord, plain old fish, and take the D minor chord, cross it out, and throw it away. Top of the second page. For some people, I guess. Over C, her, over that C quarter note, now put your D minor or D minor 7 over the top of that C. C, D, F. The G7 is fine right where it is, and then you have a first ending with a C chord. Now, to give it a little more movement, we're going to add some extra chords, but I found 2 arrangements and they both sound fine. So I want you to write one of them under the bracket and write the other one over the bracket, and then choose one, and then you can erase the one you don't like. Okay? Here's the one that I just played. C for 2 counts, beat 3, C7, which is C and B flat. The next measure, beat 1, C augmented, which is C, E, G sharp, and beat 3 over the half rest, C diminished, which is C and F sharp. That one's a little more colorful, and that one sounds like this.
Dawn, do we have to play the augmented and the diminished in that
No.
order?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No, if you don't like the chords, throw them out. Absolutely.
No, I mean the order of the notes. Do they have to be with the root on the bottom?
Oh, no, nope.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. Nope, C diminished and F sharp diminished are the same chord. They just have a different bass. It's the same chord. C augmented. Now, if you change the order of the augmented chord, it's going to show up differently in your window. If you put the C on top, it's going to show up as an E augmented, but it is the same chord. Just a different bass is going to be playing on your easy play. And again, use your ears as your final judge. If it doesn't sound right to you, change the order of the notes or change the chord completely. Now, for those of you who like a more conventional chord progression for the first ending, the C chord is good for 2 counts. Beat 3, put in an A minor or an A minor 7, which is C, G, and A. The next measure, beat 1, put in a D minor or D minor 7, C, D, F. And then over the half rest, go back to a G7, Gorilla 7. That's your typical C, A minor, D minor, G7. That's something your ear is very used to hearing. So if the other one is still a little bit too colorful and you don't quite understand or like the sounds, then go ahead and play the one that's a little more conventional. It doesn't matter. They both sound fine. Let's go to the second ending. The second line there's the C is good for 2 measures. The G7 and C is good for who can explain it. The next line, who can tell you why? The G7 is fine. The C is good, but if you want, you can make that C a C6, which is C, E, G, and A. Fools give you reasons. G7C is fine. No changes. Wise men never. You may put a 7 on the A minor. So it would be C, G, A. The D7 is good. It's C and D. The G7 for the next 2 measures is fine if you don't want extra chords. You can just use your fill-in and it's going to be fine. If you like extra chords, we're going to try some things. The G7 is good for 2 counts. Beat 3, put in an A minor 7 flat the 5th. E flat, G, A, C. Now you can put the E flat up on top. Don't worry about which order you put that in. If you don't like that chord, if it's too hard to play, you may play a C minor. C minor is the easy version of A minor 7 flat the 5th. But the difference in sound is this. C minor, A minor 7 flat the 5th, It just adds some spice to your stew. The next measure where you've got that whited in, dotted half note. B flat diminished 7 or C sharp diminished. See, the diminished chords are amazing chords. You can put them in almost any order and they're going to sound fabulous. So if you play C sharp diminished, it's C sharp and G. If you play B flat diminished 7, it's going to sound like this. It's the same chord. Diminished chords are all intervals of 3. The letter plus 3 more, plus 3 more. Diminished chords are so cool. And then right before the quarter rest, third beat, go back to a G7. Also put a note right there. Add alter. Add alter. For those of you that have an alter style, it does change the background a little bit. It keeps things fresh so that when you go to the next section of the song, here's how it sounds. Here's how the song setup sounds. Here's with the alter. You hear that little fish in there? That little ratchet sound? That's an instrument called a fish. It's a percussive instrument, and it looks like a fish, and it's kind of tubular, and it's got ridges on it, and then you hold it by the tail, and then you take a stick, like a chopstick, and you just do the ridges. It's kind of a fun instrument to play. So that's what happens when you put that alter style on. Let's listen to that again, and listen for the fish. Did you hear it?
Which measure is that not done?
That is Paradise. That is Hawaiian Paradise. It's what
No.
comes up on most of your song setups.
No, which measure did you place that on?
I placed that, I didn't number it. Oh, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Put it on between 22 and 23. Now, I did not count the first ending. I just went straight to ending 2. So it's between Wise Men Never Try, and then when you come back to Some Enchanted Evening, you want to have that alter style on. Use your quarter rest to add that alter style. Or save it to a preset. That's the easiest way. Save the first part of the song into A1, save the second part of the song with the alter style into A2, and so instead of having to go all the way over there, for the alter, you can just reach up and touch number 2 right in front of you. We'll do a lesson someday just in saving presets, because that's a lot of fun. A lot of you do that regularly anyway, but it's a nice, easy way to set up some songs. And it's not hard. It's not hard. My concert today is already all set up. So all I'm going to have to do is go next one, next one, next one, next one. And it's going to make life
Dawn?
really easy. Yes.
Dawn, this is Mary. When you send me the song, are you going to include the additions? The added chords that you just did?
The added chords, that has nothing to do with counting the measures. All I did was count the measures.
Yeah, all the changes, all the additions that you put in the entire song. Are you?
I haven't finished putting in additions yet. We're still putting in extra chords.
Okay.
All I wanted you to do was put a little note, add alter. Now your organ doesn't have that. The smaller organs don't have that. So don't worry about it. If you don't have it, what you do is you just change a sound. Change a sound. That's a place that would be a really nice place for a little bit of a change, because you're going back to the Some Enchanted Evening. You're going back to that part. So changing a sound, that's the perfect spot for that.
Okay.
All right, so the C chord is good then for 2 measures. When you find your true love, the G7 is perfect, no changes. For most of you on page 3, when you call, when you feel her call you, C chord is fine for one measure. The second measure over that blacked in quarter note, beat 1, put in a C augmented. This is actually just a repeat of what we did at the beginning of the song. C, E, G sharp. Make that F an F major 7, E and F. The next line, then fly to her. Make the C a C6 if you wish. That's an option. If you do not wish to play a 4-fingered chord, just play pinky on C. C, E, G, and A if you want to change it. The G7 over the word side, cross it out and replace it with D minor or D minor 7. The next measure over the blacked in quarter note, you may continue playing the D minor, or if you are adventurous, put in the B minor 7 flat the 5th, which is B, D, F, A. In any order is fine. And yes, you can go outside of your box. Those of you who are going, oh, she's going below the C, and you're not supposed to do that. Nah, when you get to this level, when we get to a more advanced level, we are allowed to break the rules. The reason I try to keep you, when you're starting between the C and the B, is so that your hand gets comfortable with a hand position so you can feel the chords and you don't have to look very often.
Dawn, question.
Yes.
On that G7 replaced with D diminished 7, can we add the G7 to that?
Where is that?
The one you're working on now.
No, that was replaced by, the G7 is replaced by a D minor.
Minor 7. Okay, D minor 7.
Yeah, and then
Can
the
we
next
put
measure.
the G7 back in?
Pardon?
Can we put the G7 back in on that quarter note after? Oh, just the D.
You can, yeah, G7 is typical following to the D minor 7. If you use your ears, if you like it, go ahead. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, because G7 is the typical chord to follow D minor.
Okay.
So go ahead and do that if you wish.
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. The E7, make her your own, is absolutely fine. The A minor and C7 over own is fine. Let's go to the next line. Make that F an F major 7, E and F for 2 counts. Then over the B for that quarter note triplet all through your, just make it a plain old F. If you wish, you may put a 7 on the D minor over life. The G7 is good. The C is fine. Actually, let's see, we're pretty good now till the end of the song. G7, C, G7. The C over the word go, never let her go. You may put in a C6 if you wish. Once you have found her, the D minor over never let her. The D minor is good for 1 measure. And then over the let her, make it a D minor 7 if you wish, C, D, and F, and then end on a C. Beautiful song, with or without the extra chord changes. If you only learn 1, my suggestion is the C augmented, because that's the one that I think gives you the biggest bang for your buck in this song, and you find that pretty much right at the beginning. I'm going to start at the beginning. It comes in line 3. Right here. Okay, I'm going to play that part again. It just really adds and gives it a little lift. 2, 3, 4. Did you hear it? Not through Zoom, it didn't come across very well. But that's the one that I think I would put in. The F major 7s are also easy. Try those, E and F. Okay, any questions at this point? The quarter note triplets, those are not the fast ones. Remember, you have two kinds of triplets. You have eighth note triplets that are 3 black notes with stems connected with a line, with a flag, and a little 3 underneath them. And those are eighth note triplets, and we don't have any in this song. Those are the triplets that you have 3 notes per count. Triplet, 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 triplet. They're actually very easy to play. These are the hard ones to play. These are the ones you just have to feel.
Dawn,
Yes.
on the second page, 4th line down, before you turn on the altar style,
Uh-huh.
what was the chord before, right after this, right before that rest?
G7.
Thank you.
And then you have 2 weird chords in between those two. You have a G7 on the front end, a G7 on the back end, and then you have the A minor 7, B flat diminished. Or C
No,
diminished.
on the second page,
Yeah. Yep. Right here, 4th line.
I
Wise
missed
men
the-
never try, right?
no, 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 no.
That's where you
no.
are at the altar.
I thought you put the altar style on the 4th line where it says some enchanted evening.
Right before Some Enchanted Evening.
Okay,
Yes. Right in between. Right in between there.
would you say that again, please? I'm sorry.
Line 4 is the word try, is at the
Yes,
beginning of the line.
Try, and
You're
that
gonna
was
have
a,
4
G7.
chords. I'm adding 3 new chords. It's G7.
yes,
B3 is A minor 7 flat 5 or C minor.
okay,
Beat 1 of the second measure is B flat diminished 7 or C sharp diminished. Beat 3, which is right before the quarter rest, is G7. Then you
Okay.
add alter.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you,
You're
thank you.
welcome. You are welcome. But those quarter note triplets, just feel them. It has to be 3 notes in the space of 2 counts. Do not try to count them. It'll drive you crazy. If you're struggling, you may make one of them a quarter note and 2 of them eighth notes, and it will come out exactly the same in the counting. But just try to make them as even as you can. And it's like having a string on the end of the notes, and pull them through as evenly as you can until you get to the first beat of the next measure.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Dawn.
If the 3 notes are not triplets, why did they put a 3 over these 3 notes?
They are triplets. They're quarter note triplets.
Oh, okay.
They're not eighth note triplets.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 different sets of triplets. The eighth note triplets are like 3 eighth notes in a row connected with a flag and a little 3 over the top of them. The quarter note triplets are 3 quarter notes with a little bracket and a 3 over the top of them. And that means you just have to, that the first note either gets played on beat 1 or beat 3. You'll never find a quarter note triplet on beat 2 or 4.
Okay.
And then the other 2 notes, don't try to put in the other 2 beats or the other beat because it's somewhere in the middle of the second and third one, but it's not right in the middle.
Thank
So
you.
you just have to feel them. Then fly to her side. You just have to know that the first one is going on a beat, and then the other 2 are just getting pulled through evenly. Don't worry too much about them. Play it the way you sing it. You're going to be absolutely perfectly fine.
Sorry, Dawn.
Yes, don't be sorry.
Would you do line 4 again, second page,
Yes.
starting with the G7?
Yes, G7 is already written for you. The second chord, beat 3, may be C7, or I mean C minor, which is C and E flat, or you may take it a step farther and play A minor 7 flat the 5th, and your notes are E flat, G, A, C. Second measure, you may play C sharp diminished, which is C sharp and G, or you may play a B flat diminished 7, which you can actually play in any order: C sharp, E, G, B flat, in any order.
Dawn,
Yeah.
Ken, on that same line,
Uh-huh.
I've got, this is what I got a couple years ago.
Don't, no, it can, if you got it a couple years ago, erase it and put these in, okay?
All right.
Okay, because I followed 4 different arrangements of this, and I chose what I thought was sounding the best and would be the easiest for you guys. So don't confuse the issue any more than it already is, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, let's do some fingering. Now, some people don't like fingering. You don't need it. It's okay. Now's a good time to go get a cup of coffee. For the rest of you, oh, we're doing good on time. G3, F sharp 2, A4, G3, G3, C1, G3, F sharp 2, A4, G3, G3, B5, G3, F sharp 2, A4, G3, G3, C5, 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 A3, E2, D1, D1, E2, G4, E2. Next line, D1, D1, E2, G can be 3 or 4, doesn't matter. E2, C1, A2, B3, C4, D5, top of the next page, C4, B3, A2, G1. E3, circle it, you're crossing it over. D2, first ending, E3. At the end of that held E, put a check mark, because when you go back to the beginning of the song, you're going to need that third finger to jump up to a G. Second ending, line 2 of second page. C1, F4, 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 E3, E3, D2, 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 C1, F4, 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 E3, E3, D2, 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 and in case I forgot one, D2. How's that? G5, check mark, G3, F sharp 2, A4, G3, G3, C1. Last line of that page, G3, F sharp 2, A4, G3, G3, B5. Third page, when you feel her call you, G3, F sharp 2, A4, G3, G3, C5, 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 A3, E2, that's a long stretch, but you can do it, D1. Second line, D1, E2, G4, E2. D1, D1, E2, G4. Put an arrow on this next E and make it a 1. That way you can reach up to that high C much easier with a 5. Line 3, put an arrow on the A, make it a 2. Now the arrows just mean heads up. It's unconventional fingering, so it's not the finger that you're expecting to put there, so it's just a heads up for you. It's just a visual for you to not have to worry about what you're doing here. Okay. A2, B3, C4, D5, C4, B3, A2, C4, A2, D5, C4. Once you have found her is F4, so if you want to put a check mark in between there, you may, but you've got to rest. F4, 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 E3, E3, D2, 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 C1, F4, 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 E3, E3. Now this whole next line, all the half notes going up the scale, there's two different ways to do it. You may do D2, F1 with a circle, tuck it under, A2, C3, E5. Or you may go right up the line, D1, F2, A3, C4, E5, right up the line, whichever one's easiest for you. Got it? Any questions at this point?
Could then Q turn off her mute? She's not
Yeah,
muted.
somebody's got to, yeah, okay, that's Penny, yep. I'll catch her. Okay, got it. Got it, yeah. It's very difficult to hear if your microphone is on. If some of you are struggling with that, let me know and say, can you just mute me? Yeah, I can. I don't want to do everybody from here though, because then I have to ask you to unmute, and that's with this many people online. We have 32 people joining us today. What a fabulous thing. I love this. It just makes it harder, and you guys are usually very, very respectful, and you unmute when I ask you to ask a question. So you guys are doing great with that. Okay, now as far as rhythms, what kind of rhythms work? Well, that Paradise is probably the one and only that I will ever play it in concert, because I love that. It just gives it an exotic feeling. The oboe sound on the bottom is fabulous. The big string orchestra reminds me of when I was at home listening to my mom's records. And it really, that just gives me the feeling of the song. But that doesn't mean that you have to play it that way. To get the same feeling on a different one, Strings 101, that's another big orchestra. Dinner and Dance is going to give you a very loungy feel. You may wish to give it a Latin feel and try some of your Latin backgrounds. Those of you that have Freedom 3s, the Gospel Guitar Heaven is fabulous. It's just a really nice, mellow sound. Mellow, easy 8-beat is good. Latin, rumba, Ricky is good. Those of you that have easy 1s, 2s, 4s, and 10s, the Latin full band is fabulous, but the guitarist and pianist are also fabulous. If you have the mix full band, it's the Hawaiian Aloha. Hawaiian Aloha also works really nicely for this background. Now, if you remember who else did this, Willie Nelson did this, so you want to try it on country, go for it. Bob Dylan did it. If you want to put it on rock and roll, go for it. Try some different things. Get creative. Sometimes you come up with some really cool recipes and go, ooh, I kind of like that. I'm going to switch it to, let's see, what can I do that would be a little different? Let's go to Latin, and let's just do a rumba. I'm just pulling this one out of my hat. At 95 beats a minute. And you've got vibes and strings on the top. But remember, you've got all these fabulous presets to go to as well. Let me hit number 4 and see what I have. And don't forget, this is one of those that, a la Ramon, go to the lush category and pull up some, I don't think I'll do that. Go to the lush category and pull up some really nice, full sounds. Lush choir. Let's see, lush strings is number 4. Okay, I think I'm going to use 4 and 7, strings and choir. You cannot use them at the same time, but I will change it at the same place that I changed to the altar style. And remember, your altar styles on your different backgrounds, some of them are going to work, some of them aren't. Some of them you're going to say, I don't like the way that altar style feels. Fine, then don't use it. Then try something different. Try to just change the sounds and see what happens. So here we go with rumba. back to the beginning. The top keyboard. Different flavor, different flavor. Do not be afraid to try things. Now, before we wrap this up, I did want to let you know, show you a little bit about what, like I said, Joe Notariani was in here yesterday, and he played his version, and he did an echo. I'm not going to take credit for this. He did an echo, and it sounded really pretty. So I am going to put the echo in, just so you can see. And there's two different ways to do this. Now, if you remember what an echo is, it's taking that first line and either playing it up an octave or playing it on the lower keyboard. Okay, and I watched him, and he used his left hand to hold that note while his right hand came up and finished this. You could also hold that note and use your left hand and cross it up and play. So you've got lots of options on this, but this is how it sounded with an echo. So these are things that you can try. Screwed that one up big time, sorry. Props to Joe, that's not easy to do. But it's something else that you can try. If you want to just add the FX to fill that in, that's a good place to do that as well. But if you wanted to add that echo, there's also something called sostenuto. We're not going to get into that today, where you can take your foot and hold the note, take your foot and use a foot switch, hold the note, and then come up here and play, and it's just going to hold that bottom note for you. So sostenuto is something else that you can look into instead of having to switch hands around and use one hand to hold the note and the other hand to go up and play your echo. But try that. That's, I thought that was a very interesting way to make an arrangement, way to be creative. Good stuff. Okay. Any questions at this point? Don't forget, we have a concert at 2 today. So join us for a concert at 2. And we're going to do some dancing songs. We're going to do some love songs because I have to do that. We're going to do a couple of old ones, but most of them are going to be a little bit newer, 50s, 60s, 70s. Okay, that's newer for me. My kids would call those classics. They think I'm a classic too, so. But we'll have some fun this afternoon, and Randy's going to play some great stuff as well. And we're going to have a very nice time. So join us at 2. Then join us next week for all our classes. And let's see, what should we do for next week? What do we have next? Oh, we have a song called The Rose. The Rose.
Beautiful.
Beautiful song. So we'll do that one next week. I will scan Tom and Medi the songs. So you will have this Some Enchanted Evening. I will email you the ones whose books did come in, but I have not had time to inventory them yet. So I will email the people who are next in line for the books that did come in.
Dawn, excuse
Yes.
me. While you're scanning, mine is missing sections and it's a totally different, I can bring it in and show you Wednesday.
Why?
But-
What happened? Did I do something and I goofed up?
No. I think my book is different. I mean,
Oh,
I've only got it on 2 pages.
okay, Mona. I will do
And
that.
so I tried to follow a little bit, but I'm missing a section, I think.
Okay, I will be happy to scan you as well.
Thank you.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Anybody else? You guys are the bestest. The bestest. You're the awesomest. Okay, so we
Good
will
luck
see you this.
this afternoon. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
good
to
luck
hear
this
ya.
afternoon.
Pardon?
Good luck this afternoon. Can't wait to hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're
Well,
doing my favorite Eagle song. We're doing Can't Tell You
Good.
Why. I'm going to channel my
We'll all
very
be-
best Timothy B. Schmidt.
We'll all be there.
All right. All right. I will be there too.
Thanks, Dawn.
All right.
Thank
Love you
you.
guys.
Good luck, good luck at 2 o'clock.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.